The Tragedy of Cinema podcast is intended as a family-friendly program that by extension strives to be inclusive to all people regardless of their ethnicity, gender, creed, or any other identifying factors in this incredibly diverse world of ours. With that said, some of the films we discuss may contain serious subject matters or have content considered morally objectionable by today's standards. We do not intend to condone or dismiss these aspects of these films, but our primary focus will be on what we believe the film succeeds at, some fun facts, and our personal enjoyment factors of each film. With that said, we hope you enjoy the show.
Jimbo and Bond take flight. 80s dreams are its delight. In the realm of black and white, movies and TV flow through the stories we all know. Silver screen tales unfold in the magic they bestow. The tragedy of cinema, when memories shimmer. Join us as we toast to the tales we love the most.
Do you remember the future?
You've got to come back with me.
Where?
Back to the future.
Are we back?
We're back.
What do you mean we're in the future?
October 21st, 2015.
Marty, we're going to be able to see our wedding.
Wow. The future. I gotta check this out, Doc.
Look what happens to your son.
Oh, he's a complete wimp.
Don't talk to anyone. You've been looking, Bob.
Hey, look!
Don't touch anything.
I need to borrow your hoverboard.
And try not to look at anything. I didn't invent the time machine to win at gambling.
I can't lose.
I invented the time machine to travel through time.
Hey, Doc, I'm all for that. What's wrong with making a few bucks on the side?
Now, the time continuum has been disrupted, creating an alternate 1985.
There have been a few changes.
It's like we're in hell or something.
No, it's Hill Valley, although I can't imagine hell being much worse.
But they'll all be back.
Eat less slackers!
Biff?
Hello? Hello? Anybody home?
Well, that can't be you. You're so big.
Michael J. Fox. Christopher Lloyd. Michael J. Fox.
More like a couple of teenagers, you know?
And Michael J. Fox.
Mom, is that you?
Steven Spielberg presents a Robert Zemeckis film, Back to the Future,
Gotta get back in time.
Part 2. Coming November 22nd to theaters everywhere.
Welcome back to the Tragedy of Cinema podcast. I'm your host, Jimbo, and I'm joined tonight by my co-host.
Hey, this is Bond. How you doing?
Good. And not only that, but we have Marty McFly himself. Just kidding. We have ADZ.
ADZ here.
ADZ, who is a avid Back to the Future fan.
I am indeed.
You know, today is Back to the Future Day.
Yes, that's right. October the 21st. So that's the day that Doc and Marty and, well, Jennifer, they travel back in time. Or they travel actually back to the
past?
Sure.
To the future?
Past to the future?
Back to the pasture?
Yeah. So we'll see. This is part 2 of the classic Back to the Future movie. And yeah, I am an avid fan, as you said. I love the trilogy. I think probably because I saw it at the tender age of like 10 or 11. And it's always stuck with me. I've enjoyed it.
All right, guys. In typical Jimbo fashion, I have a question. We'll start with ADZ because Bond, I'll give Bond a little time to think because it's always funner when I put ADZ on the spot.
Yeah, thanks.
80s. You are in charge of remaking the Back to the Future trilogy.
Oh, no.
Who are you casting as Marty, Doc, and Jennifer and Biff?
Oh, I have no idea.
No. You have to have an idea.
It's really hard off the cuff. I would say Jennifer. What's the girl that's been in the news lately for the Good Jeans ad? What's her name?
I
would be a good Jennifer.
I can't think of her name.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Sweeney? Is that her last name? Sweeney?
Yes. Thank you, Bond. Yes. And for Marty, man, I don't know. Is Chris Pratt too old? We need somebody that's.
I'll tell you who I think would be the perfect Marty. Tom Holland.
Yeah, I think we're on the same wavelength there. I just don't know his name.
What do you think? You think Tom Holland, Bond?
I don't know. How old is Tom Holland? Like 30 something?
Is he that old?
I'm just thinking we got to get somebody who could play a high schooler. I don't know enough young actors and actresses out there.
Don't forget, Luke Perry and Jason Priestley were playing high schoolers back in 90210, and they were in their 20s or 30s, right?
Exactly. I mean, this is not Greece where everybody's 35 but still in high school. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. So who would you take then, Bond?
And like I said, I don't know enough young actors and actresses out there. I would love. How about Doc Brown being a female character? What if you switched that up and had it be?
You already have Rick and Morty, right? So they've kind of already continued the.
But who's going to play Doc though? Or the Doc S?
The Doc S. It'd
have to be somebody a little older, I think.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
How about
that's really hard off the.
How about Jane Lynch?
Jane Lynch would be great. You could even put her in that long lab coat because she's tall and skinny.
Right. Either her or
lab coat.
The lady Gwen, the lady that played Captain Phasma in Star Wars 789, whatever it was. Watching Gwendolyn Christie or Christy Gwendolyn or whatever her name is.
7 of 9. Yeah.
No, not 7 of 9. The lady that played in Game of Thrones, the Brienne of Tar, the big. I don't know. That's just some. You could always put in like Zendaya or somebody like that, or Jenny Ortega. Put them in there if you're going for. But if I did it, I'd have to film it. Back to back to back. I don't want no. Oh well, now they look 2 years older. So,
yeah, that's one of the best things that this movie did was it filmed part 2 and 3 at the same time. It just split it up.
Right, but also I think what this movie did that I really liked is the opening scene. They shot almost frame to frame remake with that new actress. And if you put them up together, I mean, it is almost right on the money. I think that's outstanding.
Yeah, I think that people, I mean, it just went over their heads when it was originally released. They didn't even know that Jennifer had been replaced. Now, granted, she's asleep for most of the movie on the board. So she didn't have
so
a whole
was
lot
I.
of screen time. So, I mean... but that opening, that shot for shot remake on the opening, that is, if you've seen the internet where they line them up side by side, I mean, they're almost exactly dead on. So that's pretty impressive.
I agree, man. I agree.
All right, Bond, why don't you go ahead and kick us off with like the budget, how much this made, how much money it made?
Yeah, let me do some technical breakdown, man. Of course, we're talking about Back to the Future Part 2. It came out in 1989. It's an American science fiction film. This movie is directed by Robert Zemeckis, screenplay by Bob Gale. So that for the story, both those guys put together, Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale. And it's based on the characters from the original Back to the Future from 1985. This movie had a big budget, but it had a big return. This movie had a budget of $40 million back in 1989. Which today would be pocket change, but back then it was $104 US. 104 million today is what it would be. That being said, they made it for 40. The box office worldwide numbers were $332 million.
What year was this?
This is 89.
Big money.
This is 80. So if you translate that to 2025 dollars, this is an $869 million movie.
Wow.
That's right. That's like Avengers numbers. That's Spider-Man numbers. That's right up there. Huge numbers.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, it was only the third largest grossing movie of 1989.
Really?
So it wasn't the biggest movie of 89.
Was there a Indiana Jones that came out that year?
There was an Indiana Jones that came out that year.
So.
Yes, there was. There was an Indiana Jones movie that came out that year. There was also another movie that you probably have seen called Batman.
Yep, 89.
Oh, yeah. Batman 89.
So Batman came out in 89.
Was that the number one movie of the year?
Batman was the number one. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade was also the same year. So, you could do $332 million and still come in third place back then.
Wow.
So, yeah. And like I said, if you translate that today, that's $800 million today, and it still came in third for the year.
That's insane.
You pull in Sean Connery into a Indiana Jones movie.
He's one of my favorite actors of all time.
And then you have probably the most anticipated movie of the decade, or at least the second half of that decade when Batman came out. There's no way. This movie brings back some people from the first movie, but amazingly not all the people from the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Of course, we have Michael J. Fox. He's the star of our show. He comes out. He's actually 3 different characters in this one. He's Marty McFly. He's Marty McFly Jr. And he's Marlene McFly.
Marlene.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but he makes a very beautiful young lady. So we're very happy about that. We did mention earlier that Michael J. Fox, of course, was not the original Marty McFly, right? It was supposed to be Eric Stoltz, but due to conflict and all that kind of stuff, it was changed. Now, we know Michael J. Fox from Family Ties. He was in the sitcom Family Ties from 82 to 89. In between filming Family Ties, he was making movies. He was in Teen Wolf, Secret of My Success, Doc Hollywood, Frighteners. He was also in a little-known movie called Midnight Madness. I love that movie. And he's the voice of Stuart Little. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 1991, but he did go on to become a member of Spin City, the sitcom Spin City from 96 to 2000.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a shame. It's a shame. I would have loved to see Michael J. Fox grow old and continue making movies, and I think he would have been one of the best of all time if he would have kept going. This movie also returns Christopher Lloyd as Dr. Emmett Brown. He was on the television show Taxi. He was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He's in Clue. I love him in Clue.
One of my favorite movies.
Roger Rabbit. He's, of course, in Roger Rabbit. He's great in that one, too.
Yep.
Addams Family. Come on. I mean, Christopher Lloyd's amazing. Side note, Christopher Lloyd was married 5 times. That seems like a lot of times to be married. Right? Leah Thompson plays Lorraine Baines McFly. She was in one of your favorite movies of all time, Jaws 3D. Howard the Duck. So, Some Kind of Wonderful, Beverly Hillbillies. She played the mom of Dennis the Menace. She was in I love the movie Red Dawn, the original Red Dawn. She was in that. And I also love the movie Space Camp. She was in Space Camp.
That was an underrated film.
Movie.
Yep.
If you were to go back in time, you would find her in a Burger King commercial.
Yes.
That's how she was discovered, right?
With Sarah Michelle Gellar and Elizabeth Shue. It's an all-star
cast lineup.
Yeah. All cute little ladies there in that Burger King commercial. So that's amazing. Biff Tannen is played by Thomas Wilson. He also plays Griff Tannen.
And really thought outside the box for those character names.
Biff and Griff. He was in Freaks and Geeks. He once shared an apartment with Andrew Dice Clay.
Hey. Bada bing, bada boom.
Mary, quite could you...
Jack and Jill went up a hill to fetch a pillow of water.
And he was also a voice on the TV show SpongeBob SquarePants. Yay! Let's see. Jeffrey Wiseman replaced Crispin Glover as George McFly. Crispin Glover did not return for this sequel. And I'm sure Eric can go into some details about that later.
Oh, I've got a few things.
Yeah, I figured as much on that one. But Jeffrey Wiseman comes in. He does an okay job. He was also on Saved by the Bell. And he was also in Twilight Zone, the movie. And Johnny Dangerously. Did you ever see Johnny Dangerously?
I have.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great one, right?
Yeah.
Comedy, Michael Keaton. I fargan love that movie. There's a guest appearance by Billy Zane, Casey Shamasco, and J.J. Cohen as Biff's cronies. So Biff's got these three guys that hang out with him. They're like his partners in crime. One's a very young Billy Zane from Titanic. The other one's a very young Casey Shamasco from Stand By Me and Young Guns, 3 O'Clock High. And J.J. Cohen was originally going to play Biff Tannen, but he was too tall. And so they said no, that's why they got somebody else to play that one. James Tolkien comes back to reprise his role as Mr. Strickland. I mean, didn't that guy ever have any hair?
Never.
He was in Top Gun, Masters of the Universe, Dick Tracy, War Games, Armed and Dangerous. He has a guest little appearance in Amityville Horror also as the coroner. Let's see, who else is in this movie? Oh, one of my favorite guest appearances in this one is Flea. Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers comes out in this one. Right? He's the bass player for the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Can I tell you who my favorite guest appearance is?
Oh, I know you. I know who it is.
Playing
go
a
ahead
little
and share it.
video game in the background in the cafe. Frodo Baggins, Elijah Woods is in this movie. I think it's one of his first ever roles, right?
It was. He was only 8 years old, man. He's one of the two guys that they're playing the video game Wild Gunman, and he's one of the two little boys playing that game, right? He's 8. He's only 8 years old in that movie. Isn't that crazy? But that's pretty much the cast. There's a couple other ones in there, but that's like the main characters and some of the reoccurring characters that come in there. Mayor Goldie Wilson comes out again from the first movie, and
I like
Eric and I were
of that.
I love the sound. And poor George Buck Flower reprises his role as Red the Bum. Doesn't matter what alternative timeline you're in, Red is still a bum. Poor guy. Another quick one. There's also Joe Flaherty. Joe Flaherty plays the Western Union representative who delivers Doc's letter. And he's a great comedian from the SCTV days, does a lot of comedy with Eugene Levy and those kind of guys. And that's your cast for Back to the Future Part 2.
All right, 80s. We know you got some
into some of the trivia right now.
Why don't you give us a quick recap, summary of what the movie's about?
Well, we continue on with our main character, Marty McFly. Just when we think everything is settled and everyone is all back and safe and sound in 1985, at the very beginning of this movie, Doc Brown returns from the future with bad news about Marty and his wife, Jennifer, and that they actually end up together in the future, but it's their kids that he's worried about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that sets off the mission to, save the future, if you will. They've got to go ahead, and his son is going to be in some trouble, we're going to come to find out. And they get there. Well, we start off the movie with a new wrinkle in the DeLorean time machine. They don't need roads anymore, right? They got Mr. Fusion on the back, throwing banana peels and some Miller High Life, and they go to 2015, and they levitate, and we see the DeLorean levitate and take off. So that's really what the movie really just picks up from part one, and it follows these characters into the future.
Now, Marty McFly's got a pretty simple mission here at the beginning.
Yeah.
Doc Brown pretty much just tells him, go into this diner and just say no. They're going to ask you to do something. Just say no. That's it.
Yeah.
All you have to do is say, no, I'm not going to do it. Then you go back to 1985. The movie's over in 10 minutes.
And whatever you do, don't run into yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty simple.
Yeah. Because you could tear a hole in the space-time continuum. You have one job. That leads me to like one of my favorite scenes, like in the second movie, where Jennifer kind of like gets trapped in the house with her younger self and older self, and she can't get out. And that's further along in the movie, but like, and then she sees herself. She comes face to face, and then just passes out when she sees herself. But yeah, is she the only person that runs into her? I mean, how many? I think it's in my trivia though. I think there's like 4 or 5 Martys in this one, like all running around in 1955 and 85. And
yeah, like Marty sees himself a couple times.
Right at the cafe, remember?
Right.
Yeah.
So some of that, I guess we can just pick. Most people, I would assume, have seen this. If you're here listening to the podcast, you've probably seen the movie. So the date in question, Jimbo started off our podcast with this, was October the 21st, 2015 was the date in the future where Marty and Jennifer and Doc all go to. And so we're about 10 years removed from that now.
Ain't that crazy?
10 years. Isn't
that nuts?
And I still don't have a hoverboard.
They jump to the future and we're still 10 years ahead of them.
How many? I mean, there's a lot of things the movie got right, though, too. Right? Like the TV, the interactive, like face.
Like the FaceTime type thing?
Almost. Yeah, like that was one element. Still don't have a food dehydrator. That looked pretty cool to have a Pizza Hut pizza, in seconds.
That was like the size of a quarter and you just makes it bigger. But they only missed the Cubs winning the World Series by 1 year.
Yeah.
Well, we're not
1 year off.
We're not quite up to Jaws 19 yet either.
No.
But the 3D, 3D and the holograms and stuff like that, that's pretty good.
So one main element too in this movie is the sports almanac, right? That particular prop plays a big role. So when Marty goes to the future with Doc, he goes into this old, I guess it's like a thrift store. I don't know what you call it, nostalgic.
Yeah, almost like an antique store.
Yeah, an antique store. Thank you. And he buys the book, the Sports Almanac, and it has all of the athletic events from like 1955 all the way to
2000. Yeah,
2000. And that's going to play a key role in the movie because Doc, he thinks he's solved the problem because he confronts Marty about it. And he again, this whole tearing a hole in the universe and timeline and all that. He tells him, like, look, he throws the book away in the trash, and then lo and behold, Biff in the future finds it, and all what breaks loose. And so that's kind of where the movie generates its main theme and thrust, because Marty and Doc are chasing Biff in and out of time, trying to track this book down and get it back so that they can destroy it. And that's what a lot of the movie centers around.
Yeah, he has a hard time giving it to his younger self, too.
Right. Yeah.
Right. When he goes back, elderly Biff goes back in time, and he's like, here, take this book. And he's like, yeah, whatever, old man. And he just throws the book right. He's like, hey, never leave this book out of your sight. And he turns on the radio, and he predicts the ending to that football game.
Yeah, that's what sells him on the book being authentic. And so because old Biff gave young Biff this almanac, it creates this alternate 1985 timeline, right? This was like a new concept. Like when I first watched it, like that was a new concept. Like it blew my mind. I remember being a kid, like, oh, they didn't go back to in 1985 wasn't, they thought everything was going to be cool. No, it wasn't. So there's corruption in the streets. Everything's like run down. Biff lives in this high-rise hotel. He's basically like runs the world. He's the richest man, and Hill Valley has gone to crap. And so again, Marty confronts Biff, and he realizes that not only is Biff the warlord, if you will, of this alternate 1985, but he had his own father, George McFly, murdered. Mm-hmm. So that's a big key point in the movie as well.
And he forces Lorraine to marry him.
Yes. And has her surgically altered and that's her name.
Surgically altered.
Yeah. She's a little bit more plastic than she was in the original 1985.
Yeah. So we I guess the next kind of highlight really takes place when they go back to the enchantment and the Under the Sea dance. They go back to the 1955 and they're trying to intercept when the almanac is passed off to young Biff, and Marty is there, and that's like one of my favorite scenes when he's in the principal's office and Strickland takes the book, but it ends up being like an ooh la la book. And Strickland goes to his office and he takes, a plug off of his whiskey and he's like looking out the window and making sure these kids, he's a principal, but he hates kids. And then Marty's in the office and he's trying to, get the book out of Strickland without getting caught. And then, he gets the cover, but then the cover, he discovers it wasn't the actual book. So yeah, that was pretty fun.
One of the things I love about that whole scene, or just scenes throughout this movie, is they take the first movie and they show it from a different angle.
I love that
point
cinematography.
Of view.
That is some great cinematography.
So good, because as a kid, even as an adult, there's certain parts of Back to the Future that I have memorized.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the dad, when McFly goes over there and he like rips the door open, he goes, "Get your hands off of her,"
Yeah.
Because George McFly is taking advantage of her in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And they show it from a different angle. And, it's just, they do so many things where they show the first movie from a different point of view, whether it's the, Chuck Berry scene or whatever, Marvin Berry scene at the Enchantment Under the Sea dance.
Mm-hmm.
All of these different famous scenes from the first movie are shown through a different angle or different point of view.
Backstage, and then Biff or Griff's bullies get those sandbags dropped on him. The back scene or the backstage.
Exactly, and it's fun because you don't realize when you watch the first movie, you didn't realize how events in the first movie were affected by everything that went on in the second movie. Because you're like, oh, so that's why that happens, or oh, so that's where he was.
Yeah.
So is that the scene where, he's sneaking, behind the cars and you kind of see what somebody looks like Crispin Glover. Is this part of the reason he won that lawsuit against him?
What lawsuit are you referring to?
Crispin Glover actually sued them, Universal, for using his likeness without permission, leading to new Hollywood rules about likeness rights.
Well, I thought that they had footage from the first movie that they clipped in to the second one.
Right, but if
the actor that was hanging upside down, the old version of George
but if they're going back and using him or even his likeness in this movie without his permission or signed to a contract or whatever, then that's a big no-no.
Well, I guess I just thought that fell under the contract from the first movie. Like they own the rights to all of the stuff that they filmed and recorded in the first movie, and he signed off of that on that.
Right, but if they're looking at shooting it from a different angle in this movie, that's not using the stock footage from the first film.
So get this. Jeffrey Wiseman wore prosthetics with false chin, false nose, different cheekbones. He wore all this different things. There is the lawsuit.
Yeah.
Because they made him look like Crispin Glover.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't really the footage as much as it was they didn't have permission to use Crispin Glover's likeness.
Right.
Oh.
And by using those prosthetics to make him look like Crispin Glover, they in essence used his likeness without permission.
Well, then my thought about that is then why didn't they just recast him like they did Jennifer?
Well, they should have.
Should have, probably. What was the result of, does it tell you, Jimbo, what the result of the lawsuit was?
I know he didn't return to this movie because he was a dispute over the salary, I know, and the creative control of his character. But I don't know the results of the lawsuit. Bond, do you know? I know it came up with some new rules and stuff about Hollywood using the likeness, your image, but I don't know.
Yeah, it says, as a result of the suit, there are now clauses in the Screen Actors Guild collective bargaining agreements, right? Stating that producers and actors are not allowed to use those kind of methods to reproduce the likeness of any actors.
Yeah, because they can do AI now.
That's true. And so they can make you look 20 years younger.
Okay. So that's kind of like the black cloud that hangs over this movie, really, from the outside cast perspective, right? It surrounds Crispin Glover. And I'll just go ahead and launch into what I have here about him is... let me find it here. It says the plot. Let me back up. I think the plot line of George McFly being dead in 1985 was based entirely on Crispin Glover's refusal to do the sequel. He claims that he refused to do the movie because of the emphasis on the materialistic gain of the characters of the first movie. So the story's kind of changed. Jimbo, you said it was because of contract, money. Was it maybe the story's changed over time? Like it might have been money, but then I've heard him on interviews come back and say this very thing, that it was about the materialism of the theme of the movie.
Well, yeah, I've heard that too. But I mean, that might be just the creative differences he was talking about here too.
Yeah. So that's just one thing that I had written down here. Then there was another issue I think that related to him. And I don't see it here in my notes, but I don't know. That might have been a good idea to going back to what you guys are saying, is just to recast it just like they did the Jennifer character. Mm-hmm. I mean, nobody could really tell, and it's not like George McFly's in a lot of scenes in the.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. Is the fact that he probably has just as much screen time as Jennifer does overall in the movie anyway. You know, there's one scene where they're all eating dinner together, or they're all in the house together, and that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, the other side of that coin, going back to Glover, was I think Zemeckis and some other, I think I read or watched some YouTube videos, that he was difficult to work with. He was like one of those method actors that, for whatever reason, he was just kind of difficult to deal with on the set. So that's the story from their perspective. So the truth is probably somewhere in the middle as a regards to him. But I mean, yeah, I mean, he really is kind of integral in that first movie. Of course, George McFly's. I mean, he's a big part of that of the movie, and the movie hinges a lot on his storyline. And yeah, so.
Right. Well, also they originally wanted part 2 and part 3 to be one big sequel. Mm-hmm. They weren't going to split it up, but obviously Zemeckis lost that fight. But it said that he was actually completely exhausted because he would be editing part 2 during the day while shooting part 3 at night. I mean, imagine that. Because I mean,
back to back.
Oh, just how much sleep did this guy get? I don't think he got any at all. But there was also a subplot that they did away with. But Biff was almost going to become a main character, like the main character, and he was going to be traveling through time, wreaking havoc, and Marty and Doc were going to be chasing him through time. I thought that would have been really cool too. That could almost it could almost be a TV show.
Yeah,
that's true. But I just love the fact that they filmed them both at the same time or back to back like that and just split it up. I guess they did that with the Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. The last movie there, they kind of split it up into 2 pieces. And of course,
Lord of the Rings, they shot
Lord of the Rings
all at one time. That was probably the smartest decision he ever did.
Yeah, Peter Jackson just shot it all at once and just cut it up.
Oh, okay.
That's the best way to
Eric,
do it.
have you ever watched Lord of the Rings yet?
No, still behind on that one. But going back to the Future, of course there is the trailer at the end of 2, obviously leading us into 3
Right.
and the Western theme and all that. I thought that was really cool how they joined that together at the end. This actually was filmed at the same time as Back to the Future 3, as we've already talked about. It was claimed at the time that in the 4 years since Back to the Future, 1985, that it was made, Michael J. Fox had forgotten how to ride a skateboard. Mm-hmm. However, motor skills are not so easily lost as riding, such as riding a bicycle. Michael J. Fox has since stated that this was an early symptom of his Parkinson's disease, although a medical diagnosis was not made until 1991. So he was already, his motor skills were starting to wane just ever so slightly in those 4-year period between 85 and 89. So that's kind of interesting.
But let's talk about how cool the hoverboard was, right? I mean, Eric, I remember in elementary school or wherever we were, junior high, it was the talk of the town. You know, Zemeckis even made the statement of like, oh yeah, they're totally real, you know, joking. And that just sent the kids on a frenzy. He's like, oh, we got to get them. But he was like, I was just kidding, you know, but the parents were getting drove nuts. But
I thought that was real. I thought it was
so
like,
oh yeah. As a kid in the 80s. Yeah.
But, so there is, if you look closely, you can still see some of the wires, you know, guiding the hoverboard and all that, but there was a really bad hoverboard accident. So the stunt woman that was doubling for Griff was badly hurt when she was thrown through the courthouse glass. The rig malfunctioned and she fell awkwardly. This shot was kept in the final cut. So she got hurt in that shot. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. So to commemorate the 30th year anniversary release, Back to the Future trilogy, they created a Blu-ray and DVD release, a short movie called Back to the Future Doc Brown Saves the World in 2015. It was filmed with Christopher Lloyd reprising his role as Doc Brown in the movie. Doc tapes a video message explaining that he traveled to the 2040s, still ahead of us, even now as we sit, and he did it in a rebuilt DeLorean and discovered that the inventions such as the hoverboard and dehydrated food would cause people to become massively overweight. Even worse, a simultaneous glitch in every nuclear Mr. Fusion device on the planet would cause a nuclear holocaust that decimates the world's population. He subsequently travels back in time and successfully prevents dangerous devices from ever being invented, thus explaining why Future 2015, as seen in this movie, did not come true in reality. So I thought that was cool.
Oh, they explained it away. That's a good idea.
I got one even better. Are you ready for this one? There was an alternate ending that was scrapped.
Okay.
Don't laugh, Bond. I'm looking at you. So in early drafts, Doc and Marty traveled to the year 1967 and accidentally got involved with hippies at Woodstock.
That would be a good one.
But it was dropped due to budget. And of course, the obviously tone of the movie would have been different, right? Hey, Marty, get in.
Hey, Doc, put your shirt on.
You see Doc running around with a peace sign painted on
Painted on his stomach.
But also the chicken gag origin, you know, because they're like, what are you, chicken?
Oh, yeah.
So Marty being triggered when somebody calls him a chicken was not in the first movie.
Oh.
It was added in part 2 to give him a weakness and character arc.
Yeah.
So, but I could have swore it was in the first movie too, but it
does come out in the third movie.
Oh, that might be it.
Yeah.
Yeah. In part 3, he's in the saloon.
Yeah.
They call him a chicken.
And there's also a Universal backlot Easter eggs. Hill Valley's Courthouse Square was also used for what movies? Do you know, Eric?
Gremlins.
Yes.
I want to say wasn't it a background set for the Twilight Zone?
No. Bond, do you know the other movie?
No, the only one I did know Gremlins, but because I know they use the same theater.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh, okay.
And if you look closely in the alternate 1985 scenes, you can see the set dressings from Gremlins still in place. So.
Is it still Christmas? And
why can't we get another Gremlins movie, right? It's time.
It's the same universe. I say there's a crossover.
Oh, back to the Gremlins. Can you imagine seeing Stripe pull up in the not the Mandalorian, but the DeLorean?
The DeLorean.
Hop in, Billy.
Oh, poor Gizmo.
Oh.
I got one here in the DVD extras of Back to the Future Part 2. Robert Zemeckis said that he really didn't want the movie to take place in the future. That is because he felt like every time a movie takes place in the future, it mispredicts. But we already talked about earlier that they at least got there are a lot of things that they got right in the movie. The Cubs winning the World Series, only off by 1 year. Bond talked about that already. There's a lot of things they got right.
Yeah, I really like how they, something happens and then the newspaper starts changing.
Yeah.
Scene after scene after scene. I think that's really cool.
I had something in here too about I for the life of me cannot find this little nugget, but there's a spot in here where I guess at Biff's high-rise hotel where there's in the alternate 1985 universe, there's a Richard Nixon runs for a fifth term. Like in there, I cannot find it.
That's in the dystopian 1985.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was hilarious.
Well, not only that, but what about in the cafe where they have like the who was it, Ronald Reagan head and Ayatollah or whatever, Michael Jackson taking your orders.
Max Headroom. Yeah,
that is funny.
Did they?
But see, I think that's. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, did they ever release that actual Pepsi bottle that they used in the movie?
They did. I have that right here. Let me find it. I just had it. The Pepsi Perfect can came true. In 2015, Pepsi released a limited run of Pepsi Perfect bottles to celebrate the movie's future date.
Okay.
Man, I would love one of those. Prop. That's my prop.
Got it.
I'll take it the hoverboard.
Airbags. Nike airbags. All right, we're done.
Ooh, that was fun. That was quick and easy. That's one thing that the movie did get right. When Zemeckis talked about his fear of predicting the future. One of the things to me that got right is the fact that in 2015, even today, we're still kind of obsessed with like 80s culture.
Yeah.
And we still love the 80s. We still love the 80s culture. So the fact that there was like this retro diner that was all about the 80s, it's kind of like when I was growing up, it was the 50s diner, right? That was a big thing. It's like to have a diner like the 1950s.
Yep.
And then, so the fact that here we are in 2015 and we have a retro diner that's all about the 80s, I thought that was really cool. And it's kind of true. There is this fascination with 80s music and 80s culture and 80s pop.
Yeah.
And
sure.
80's got his own name about that too, right?
Have you guys seen the AI thing that's been floating around Twitter where it's like 80s teenagers and it's basically talking about how they wouldn't trade places with modern day teenagers because
absolutely not.
Their phones and like, hey, on a Friday night, what are you guys doing? You're just staring at a screen. Well, we're rolling around on our iRock Z and hanging out. It was all about 80s culture. I can't remember.
Or me going over to 80's house and busting out the original Nintendo playing pro wrestling. Remember that 80's eating pizza?
Yeah. So Bond makes a really good point. I mean, all of these. Shows and that's kind of the genesis behind the movie, right? Is that, am I getting this wrong? That it was the director or the original, I can't remember if it was Bob Zemeckis or one of the guys. They wondered what it would be. They saw a photograph in his dad's like yearbook, and they thought of what it would be like if he went back in time. Would he be friends with would his dad be friends with him? And that's kind of the genesis of the whole.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And so, that's how I related. Me personally, I related to my parents by listening to some of the music growing up, being a kid, listening to some of their music. And then I always wondered what 1950s and 60s culture would have been like for their age. And that was one way that, you could sort of relate to your parents on a certain level, and you can get to know them better by, listening to stories. And so I think we have that exact thing for the 1980s now. People want to go back and they want to feel those same feelings, and they have a lot of nostalgia for that.
I always wanted to go to a sock hop.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't that be fun? Let's
Definitely.
go to the hop. And, and that great 50s music, the swing music and all that. I mean, come on now. Girls on poodle skirts.
Yeah. So this movie's really like a family movie. This guy tried to endeavor to get to know his father. And so, he created a whole world to tell the story about, hey, that'd be really cool if I was, born at the same time as my dad. So I'll just create a time machine and make it happen on the silver screen, right?
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So did dystopian Lorraine, did she, I don't know, I always feel awkward when I'm watching that scene now whenever I see when I see Lorraine now, and she's kind of strung out. She doesn't look so good. She drinks too much.
Oh yeah.
She's obviously wearing her dress backwards because it's the low cuts in the front. And so she's just not looking, and it just that I feel bad for her, and it's just one of those awkward scenes to watch for me now as an adult. I'm like, man, I don't know if I should be watching what I'm watching here.
But I think they did that on purpose to make you feel sorry for her because of everything that Biff had put her through.
Right.
Yeah. Especially when Biff threatens to take away the funding for the daughter and for Marty and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then that changes her attitude. She's like, no, I'll do whatever you want. No, it's okay, Marty. It's okay.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to lose everything. She'd rather be beat than to lose everything.
Yeah. It plays on that premonition, that theme, or not premonition, but the theme from the first movie, that she has an inclination. That's the word I'm looking for, to drink, to alcohol, right? Because she's drinking in the car before Marty takes her into the dance. But George somehow, subverts that, and then it's like she returned back to that, inclination to drink, and she has a hard life again. So yeah, it's kind of comes full circle again. Yeah, the hot tub scene, which just came up right now, that makes you a little, along with the Lorraine scene. Yeah, I remember thinking how am I going to convince my parents to let me see this PG-13 movie? Was it PG or PG-13? Do we even have that up? I think I've never even looked, but
I think it's PG, but it's right on the edge, right?
It's got to be right on the edge, because
it's got to be right on the edge. One of those early PG-13s, because wasn't Gremlins the first PG-13 came out around the same time?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think I was actually 13 years old when it came out, and I vaguely remember how am I going to convince my parents to let me go see this? So.
Overall, man, I think this movie's great. I love the way it blends in with the first movie. It's fun. It's hard to find fun movies like this nowadays. And so I like it. It's a fun movie. I think the whole family would like this movie just as you're walking through it.
All right, but I have a question. How are you ranking the Back to the Future trilogy? 1, 2, or 3? 2, 3, 1? What are we doing here?
Bond, go ahead.
I'm going to put them in order that they came out. I'm going to 1, 2, 3. I think the first movie's pretty close to perfect. And so boom, boom, boom. I'm not really crazy about the third one. Third one's just okay. So.
Yeah.
All right, 80s.
I'm a 1, 3, 2. Yeah, I think I like the Western a little bit better than this one. Obviously, this one bridges the gap between both, but I agree with Bond. The first one, it is near perfect. It blew my mind the first time I saw it on VHS, and that just spawned the love of this trilogy, and I hope they never touch it. I hope they
ruin your childhood like they do everything else.
Like they've claimed that they're not gonna reboot it, change it, run it.
Well, we got Masters of the Universe coming out next year. Boy, I want it to be good. I really do, but I don't know, man. I just don't know.
This one is full of props, though. You shouldn't have any problem. We've already picked our props, but just you want to talk about 80s culture and nostalgia and all that stuff. You got a plethora of props to pick.
Oh, absolutely. From. I almost took the Jaws 19 holographic sign. How cool would that be? But for me, I think mine goes 2, 3, 1. I think that's how I would rate the movies, because I really like this movie, and I think the hoverboard. When you were a kid, that's all you wanted.
Told you, yeah,
it was awesome, dude.
Did you like when the little girl rejects? He tries to give that little girl, and she's like, "What? No way!" And she takes the bad guy's board instead. So here you go, kid. She's like, "No thanks."
Nope, don't want that one.
All right. I think it's come down to the time where we give our feelings on this movie. We rate the movie. So let's go ahead and kick it over to ADZ, since this is like one of his movies that he wanted to cover for a long time. And I know it's one of his favorite franchises. So we'll let him start off on cloud nine before we reel him back in, Bond.
This one, I'm probably on cloud 7 for this one. Again, the original Back to the Future is awesome. It checks all the boxes. This one is a good bridging the gap movie. I liked it. The nostalgia, the 80s culture, of course, all of those things. It's like a song. When you play a song, how your mind is transported back to that moment in time, like when you heard the song or what you were doing, if it's an older song or whatever. That's what this movie does for me. Like, it takes me back to when I was a kid. I love the franchise. It makes me think of family, like Friday night VHS renting movies, like we used to go to Blockbuster and all that stuff. So it rings true for childhood, and then knowing the sort of the genesis of how the movie was created and the father-son relationship, and that whole idea and how it spawned the whole trilogy. Of course, I mean, we can go on and on and on about the DeLorean and time travel and the Nike Air Mags, the self-lacing shoes, all the props. We could be going on for days and days and days. Is it going to win a lot of critically acclaimed awards? Is it going to win Oscars? No. Are there outstanding performances? Yeah, I think so. I think that a few you could pick out. Is there some controversy that goes along with this movie? Of course. Crispin Glover and all of that. We kind of touched on it a little bit. Makes me a little sad that he couldn't get past whatever beef they had. It would just make it that much better. But again, yeah, I rank it right. I rank it 3rd in the trilogy. I love it, and I'll probably always love it. I'll always keep watching it. So it's hard for me to believe that no one's ever watched this movie before. But if you haven't, I would say give it a watch. I think you would like it. I don't think you would be disappointed. But
all right, I got a question for both of you real quick. If you could, would you go back to your childhood right now?
Oh, in a minute.
You would forgo your family you have now and go back.
Oh, I have to do that.
Yeah, there's no coming back, Eric.
You can't take your kids and family with you.
Man, we had a good life back then, dude.
Okay, but go ahead, Eric.
No, I don't. When you phrase it and like that, no, I wouldn't leave my kids and my life and everything now. But to the further question, I think that we were on the edge of: would you trade how you were raised or the time in which you were raised and stuff, how you grew up? No, I don't think any amount of money I would trade for, my childhood.
Because I think we really had the best years, dude. I mean, the 80s and 90s.
Know every generation thinks that, and they make, of course, valid points. Everybody thinks that they had the best.
I mean, we had the greatest sports figures playing at our time.
Yeah, all of us grew up in a great time to be alive.
Right.
Growing up in the 80s as a kid, man, it was the best. Imagine, here's something that kids can't imagine today. Imagine leaving your house and your parents have no idea where you are.
I know.
But you better be home when that light comes on.
Yeah, right? You'll be home. You'll be home by dinner. But imagine, kids today can't imagine. They can't even fathom the idea of the fact that mom and dad don't have a tracker on you at all time,
right?
Or you're not. And then when your parents aren't paying attention, they don't have to, because you're literally posting to the world where you are at all times.
I know,
right? Today we advertise where we are every minute of the day, and we have people tracking us every minute of the day. One of the best things about the 80s was you could leave your house, have fun, go on adventures with your friends, and they were your adventures. You didn't have to share them with anybody else. They became your memories. And that's one of the great things. Am I going back to the 80s with the knowledge I have today, or am I going back as stupid as I was in the 80s?
Bond, stupid then, stupid now. Either way.
Because,
No, because
I'm not losing
because
much.
that would alter your timeline if you did, because you wouldn't meet the people. Because if you went back and said, "Oh, I'm gonna buy Bitcoin" or something,
Yeah. It's like, okay, so I would still make the same mistakes because I don't have the knowledge.
Right.
So I'm still getting rejected by every girl I ask out.
How cool was it that you got up in the morning in the summer, you got on your bike, you could just ride for all day. Just be gone. Generation X is, where are they? X marks the spot, right? Because you never do. I would go to friends, swim in someone else's swimming pool while they were at work and get out, oh man, we could go on for days and days about this stuff that you did when you were a kid that kids would never get. My kids, I would never allow my kids to.
Kids aren't even allowed in the front yard anymore.
I know. Man, that was some good stuff. I don't think I would trade it for anything.
Yeah. All right, Bond. So what are your thoughts, feelings on this movie and your rating?
All right. At first, I was going to give this movie 1.21 gigawatts. And I changed my mind. I was going to give it 88 miles per hour so I could go time. This movie's great, man. Once again, you can nitpick it. You could go through and find all the little mistakes here and there. And there's quite a few compared to the first movie. I think the first movie, Back to the Future, is near perfect. I think this one's just as good, a little bit off. So I'm going to have to give this movie, let's go 7.5 to an 8, leaning closer to an 8, I think, for me. Just because it's a fun movie. These are iconic characters that here we are, 35, 36 years later, and they're still great iconic characters. There would be no Rick and Morty today if it wasn't for Back to the Future movies,
Yeah.
Well, I think one of my favorite parts of this, and we didn't even touch on it. I mean, yeah, of course, I love the hoverboards, and we've talked about the cafe and all that. But I think one of my favorite parts is when Doc Brown runs into Doc Brown on the Times Square and helps him fix his stuff. Remember? I really like that scene. I think that's really well done. And what can you say about Christopher Lloyd? I mean, he just acts so zany, like zany, like a nerd, like a scientist does. I'm not a big Michael J. Fox fan. I'm sorry. He's only been in a couple of things I've liked. Teen Wolf was one of them. Of course, we all had to watch Family Ties growing up. That was just part of the deal. And I think, Eric, didn't you cover Doc Hollywood with me, or was it me and Kyle? We did Doc Hollywood. Yeah.
We did.
That was okay. Frighteners is really good too. But I've always liked Lorraine and everything she's been in. Howard the Duck, all that's Caroline in the City, or whatever that was. Watch that TV show where she was the artist. And this is my favorite Back to the Future movie. I'm not a big Back to the Future guy. Eric will tell you that. But I'm coming in with an 8 on this one. I just think that it's so
culturally significant.
Right, but so over the top zany, right? Even like, when Marty first gets to the cafe or whatever, and he's fighting Biff, and Biff just grows up like 6 times real big with like them pumps or whatever, and he takes that baseball bat behind him or whatever it is, and it's like a getting bigger, and he starts swinging and all that. It's just stuff like that, the hoverboard, all that stuff. I love the cinematography where they go back and show the first movie, like Marty watching himself on stage playing the guitar. I think that's great. When he's like sneaking behind the cars, I like that a lot too. It just shows how good of a director Zemeckis really is. I mean, he's put out some really good movies, and we can't deny that.
Yeah, so just to have the forethought to lay all that out and have it seamlessly come together.
Right, and especially shooting
all the little aspects and stuff, and have it come together. When you're shooting from different angles and making it all make sense inside the storyline, that's like awesome. And
I wonder, while he was editing 2 during the day and shooting 3 at night, if any of his plans changed because he's editing during the day and he's like, oh, I can throw this in the third movie as a kickback to the sequel. Which if they would have filmed all 3 at once, I think it would have been better, because I think the continuity would have been better. Yeah. But doing 2 and 3 together, I think, was pretty smart of him. So, well, I
is
think
this wait real quick?
Yeah,
is this the second best sci-fi sequel of all time?
Well, because we know Empire Strikes Back is probably the best sci-fi sequel of all time, right? Superman 2 is pretty good too.
Yeah, it'd be hard to argue with Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, I mean, Temple of Doom, but we could just say sequels in general.
Sequels in general, I'd put it in the top,
probably
at least the top 10, right?
If not top 10, top 20, probably. I mean, because you got to think Two Towers, which Eric doesn't know anything about yet, right? Which you need to watch Lord of the Rings, Eric, because it will blow your mind.
All right. Well, next time I have 18 hours of available downtime.
next time you're down with the flu for a week.
No kidding.
But I mean, you got Superman 2, Temple of Doom. It's probably better than Temple of Doom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
But you have Batman Returns. You got all that stuff. But yeah, it's probably in the top 20, I'd say.
That's why I was thinking. If you think sci-fi sequels,
I mean, Aliens is probably up there.
Aliens is pretty good.
Yeah,
it's Star Trek. There's Star Trek 2.
Spaceballs, the sequel that's coming out next year. Right? All right,
man. I didn't mean to distract.
That's all right. We're closing down the DeLorean on this episode, so powering down. We're out of garbage, right? So, if you want to follow us, we are the Tragedy of Cinema Podcast on Facebook. You want to leave us a review, we'll make Eric or Bond read it on the air. What else? We got TikTok. I do a little bit of TikTok now, so if you want to follow me over there. But who knows? You'll never know when ADZ will pop up on the main feed when something strikes his interest. I know there's one more movie that we have talked about that we didn't get to quite make it for the summer sequels this year, but maybe we'll have to cover it soon. And that was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Oh, I'm in on that one for sure.
Yeah, I knew it. But I think this episode's coming to a close, and that's a wrap.
And cut.
Memories shimmer, join us as we toast to the tales we love the most. The tragedy of cinema, where memories shimmer, join us as we toast to the tales we love the most. The roles we love the most. The tragedy of cinema, when memories shimmer, join us as we toast to the tales we love the most. To the tales we love the most. The tragedy of cinema, when memories shimmer, join us as we toast to the tales we love the most. To the tales we love the most. To the tales we love the most.
Great Scott!